Hey, it's Botanical Brian here at Colonial Gardens for week number 4 of our Colonial Kids Club Learning Gardens. And lots of things are happening in our learning gardens. We've got seeds germinating, we've got plants growing, we've got true leaves starting to form on our plants. And you know, it's been a real joy gardening with you guys, and I wanted to show some pictures of your gardens and you Colonial Kids Club gardeners in action. It's great how you've been communicating with each other on our Kids Club page, and you're answering each other's questions and helping and encouraging each other. That's what gardening is all about. And if you have questions or if you have problems, post your questions and problems on our Colonial Kids Club page, and myself or Farmer Bryn or one of our awesome Kids Club gardeners can help you. And everyone remember, there's a lot of kids that are starting later, and so keep coming back and posting and answering questions. And if you have started later, you can still post, and one of our gardening community will answer your questions. So keep those questions coming and keep those pictures coming. I wanted to answer a few of the more frequently asked questions, and one of those questions is, should my plants be outside or inside? Now, the plants are going to prefer to be outside in a sunny location, weather permitting. And if you do not have a sunny location outside, you can put your plants in a west or a south facing window and as much sun as you can get them, and that should be just fine. And also remember, if it gets cold and you have your plants outside, the little plants, they need to be brought in if it gets below 50, and our bags need to be brought in if it gets below 40. And another question I've been asked is, how do you know if your plants are too wet? And in week number 2, we talked about how you could tell if your soil was dry. And so now we'll talk about if your soil's too wet. So last week we learned about in week 2 we learned about the color of the soil. So if the soil is lighter in color, you can probably figure your plants are going to be wet enough. But if the soil is dark in color, then your plants probably have enough water. I'm also going to stick my finger in here. So if your plants, you can tell there's some moisture in that soil right there, and that's plenty wet. And then you can also tell that that's starting to get a little bit dry. It crumbles in your hand. So that's one way you can tell. Another way that you can tell is with your plants. Your plants will tell you if they're too wet because they will be weak looking and they'll fall over. Sometimes they'll be a little bit discolored. So if that happens, you want to hold off on the water, and sometimes those plants may not even make it if they're weak, but you can always just pull them out, plant some new seeds, and get right back at it again. All right, now this week we are going to fertilize our plants. And for our fertilizing, we need the cup of fertilizer that was in your kit with the little lid on it, and we need our watering can. And inside this cup of fertilizer is chicken poop. And I know that sounds, to some of you it sounds gross, to some of you it sounds lots of fun, but for sure the plants like it. And so we're gonna fertilize the plants with this chicken poop. So first we're gonna open up our fertilizer, and we're gonna take our fingers, and you can wear gloves if you want, and we're gonna pinch some of this out, and we're just gonna sprinkle it in around the plants. Try not to get the fertilizer on the leaves of the plants. And if you do get fertilizer on the leaves, just kind of shake it and knock it off of the leaves. And we're gonna just cover the ground all around our bag with fertilizer, and we'll use all the fertilizer that is in this cup. And we're just sprinkling it around amongst the plants. Try to get in between the plants, but not on the plants. And every once in a while you can brush the fertilizer off of the plants. And so I'm just about done. I'm gonna dump the rest of the cup in my hand. Make sure you wash your hands after this. All right, so there we go. We have fertilized our plants, and then we're gonna take our watering can and we're gonna sprinkle that real good and water that fertilizer in. Now we're just watering our bags today. We're not watering the baby plants in our small pots. But my baby plants are getting kind of dry, so I'm gonna give them a shot of water as I'm watering my bag. All right, now our plants have been fed, and that's all we have for this week. Make sure that you tune in next week with Farmer Bryn, and he may be doing some thinning. And so we'll see you next week. Happy gardening.